Because if you say that it will trigger, then I will object to your to that motion.
So please, maging resonable naman po tayo at tumupad naman po sa mga kasunduan nung tayo ay ilang oras na nagbubuo ng kompromiso na handa na nating tanggapin dito.
Actually, Mr. President, the majority is kind enough para pagbigyan yung pakiusap ng minority. Na originally naka-schedule na tayo on June 11. Lahat natin gagawin. So, what's the difference kung yung aming pakiusap ay pagbigyan rin naman?
Baka impeachment na maging bato pa.
I, Francis Chiz G. Escudero, solemnly swear that in all things appertaining to the trial of the impeachment of Vice President Sara Duterte, now pending, I will do impartial justice according to the Constitution and laws of the Philippines. So help me God.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, in view of the referral of the verified complaint, may I respectfully move that the Senate President take his oath as presiding officer. So move, Mr. President.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable De La Rosa?
Mr. President, just for a clarification, is it correct to assume that though the Senate President takes his oath today, and as you said, the members will be taking their respective oath tomorrow, but the impeachment court is not yet convened, and it is going to be convened on Wednesday, June 11. Am I correct, Mr. President?
What
For the
does
record, just for the record.
What does the movement say?
Yes, Mr. President, the distinguished gentleman from Davao and Bohol is correct, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr.
That is
President.
the intention of the movement, Mr. President.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable
Just to, Mr. President,
Pimentel?
just to complete the thought of the,
You may proceed, sir.
just to complete the thought of the latest motion of Senator Villanueva, it should, as the presiding officer of the impeachment court. Sige. And then, with the convening, Mr. President, I think tomorrow, when we take our oath, we are convened as the impeachment court. So I don't know, that's my technical understanding, Mr. President, because the presiding officer will now call the impeachment court to session, and then the members will now take their oath as senator judges. So that is already convening the court as far as this representation is concerned.
What does
Yes,
the
Mr. President, if I may, Mr. President, as the
Senator Villanueva is
As the
recognized. You
movement
may
of the
proceed.
motion, Mr. President, I stand firm with the motion that I am proposing right now, as this came through out of the consultations made by this representation to a lot of members of the Senate, Mr. President, just to put that on record.
But
Just to clarify, this is akin or similar, Honorable Villanueva, to, for example, those who are newly elected to serve a term beginning January 30, 2025, who won in the last elections, where they can take their oath today,
Yes.
next week, or even for the past several days. But still, the term of their office will commence or begin on June 30. Would that be a good analogy?
Yes, Mr. President, you are correct, Mr. President.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable Marcos? Or nakatayo? What is the pleasure of the Honorable Revilla, rather Padilla, and then De La Rosa?
Ginoong Pangulo, gusto ko lamang pong malinawan sa salitang Tagalog na ang hudyat po ng ating mahal na kapatid na Senator Joel Villanueva na kayo po ay mag-oath. Hindi po ibig sabihin na tayo po ay naguhubad na ngayon ng sombrero ng pagiging legislative body kung di tayo po ay hindi pa rin korte. Gusto ko lamang pong linawin.
Tama po, Ginoong Pangulo, ang binigkas ng ating kapatid Senator Robin Hood Padilla na hindi po natin hinuhubad ang ating sombrero bilang legislative body ng Senado at hindi po tayo nagko-convene as an impeachment court.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you.
Yun lamang po, Ginoong.
Honorable De La Rosa and then the Honorable Tolentino.
I just would like to be clarified, Mr. President. If it follows that after all the members of this body have taken their oath, it would automatically trigger the convening of the impeachment court. Therefore, I move that we make our oath on the 11th, Mr. President, as originally scheduled.
Mr. President, if I may, Mr. President.
Senator Villanueva.
To just clarify, Mr. President, the motion is for the Senate President at this time. The motion at hand is that the Senate President would take his oath as the presiding officer of the impeachment court. The next motion that we agreed upon a while ago is for the members of the Senate, the senator judges, to take their oaths, Mr. President. But just the same, Mr. President, let me emphasize again, whether today or tomorrow's oath taking, this representation was made to believe that we are not yet convening as a court.
Okay, Mr. President.
And we are to convene the impeachment court on Wednesday, June 11.
I agree, Mr. President.
That is the
Senator Tolentino.
Just to further clarify, Mr. President, the impending oath of the Senate President is, if I'm not mistaken, and the movant can clarify this, pursuant to Resolution 39, Section 3 of our rules, which states, and I quote the pertinent provision, the President of the Senate shall preside in all other cases of impeachment, and for that purpose be placed under the prescribed oath or affirmation by any person authorized by law to administer an oath. The same, Mr. President, is pursuant to the constitutional command under Article 11, Section 3, paragraph 6, that when sitting for that purpose, referring to the impeachment, the senators shall be on oath or affirmation. Is that the correct clarification, interpretation, if I may ask the movant, Mr. President?
What does the movant say?
Yung po bang panunumpa ngayon ng ating Senate President ay sang-ayon sa Resolution number 39 patungkol sa impeachment proceedings at sang-ayon din sa Article 11, Section 3 patungkol po sa panunumpa ng Senate President at lahat ng senador kung magbubukas ang isang impeachment trial court. Yun lamang po.
yes, Mr. President. The answer is in the affirmative, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
We can
Senator Pimentel is recognized.
since we are debating on the nature of the third motion, actually, we're still on the second motion. Kaya nga. So, maybe if we can wait for the third motion and then revive this topic, Mr. President.
I have no problem with that, Mr. President. And so I moved for the previous motion, Mr. President. The previous motion to the Senate President.
And
to take his
Senator
oath.
Coco, you have no objection as to the clarification made by Senator De La Rosa earlier with respect to the second motion. Is that correct?
Because it is more appropriate for the third motion which has not
Yes.
been made, Mr. President. So, mas nalilito tayo when we anticipate
So
the
there
third
is
motion.
no reservation as to the second motion of the gentleman from Bulacan for the chair to take his oath as presiding officer. Is
of
that the
impe-
understanding of the
presiding
chair?
officer of the impeachment court. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Senator De La Rosa.
My clarification, Mr. President, was not yet forthrightly answered, Mr. President. Can the presiding officer give us a clear explanation as to whether or not we are convened right after all the members of this chamber have taken their oath? Because according to what we have discussed a while ago, that the convening of the court, of the impeachment court, shall proceed only on 11 or Wednesday.
That's,
So
no, we are still on the second motion, Honorable De La Rosa.
that is why, Mr. President, that's a precondition. Because otherwise, that's my question is a precondition to your taking
Understood.
of oath. Because if you say that it will trigger, then I will object to your to that motion.
Understood. Senator Cayetano, what
Sir
is your
President.
pleasure?
If it will help,
You may proceed, sir, if it will help.
in the same manner, Mr. President, that you said that parang po yung mga nanalo nung May election, June 30 pa naman sila mag-hold office pero pwede na sila mag-oath. If the Supreme Court was in recess now, but the President appointed 3, 4, 5, 6 justices, they can take their oath. At kahit 15 yan na sabay-sabay ng oath, it will not mean that they are convening the Supreme Court for another session. They will still be in recess. It will be either the law, which sets a date, or in our case, here in plenary, we will set the date kung kailan i-convene. So if it will help, so what will happen is you will take your oath tonight, then because we referred it to the Committee on Rules, then following Precedents, which is part of our rules, then tomorrow, we will take our oath as a group, but yung pagko-convene, in accordance then with our agreement and your notice, will be on Wednesday. If we all accept that, our taking of our oath tomorrow will not trigger the convention of the convening of the trial court. Of course, if we all agree today that after we take our oath, it will convene, then it will convene. But if we all agree we will just be taking our oath today, it's no different than new appointees of the Supreme Court or the CA or the RTC taking their oath, then waiting till the recess is over before they convene. No, if we all accept that, Mr. President.
Senator Ontiveros is recognized.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, mga kasama, ang ginawa natin, tinilad-tilad natin yung original motion ng minority leader. Dahil sa primary issue na ni-raise ng gentleman from Camarines Norte and BARM na dapat tulad ng naging practice nung nakaraang mga impeachment processes, bagamat wala sa rules, i-refer muna sa Committee on Rules. Mapagbigay po ang minority. Nakipag-usap po kami sa inyong lahat sa pamamagitan ng ating pamunuan. At pumayag po kami, pumasok po kami dun sa kasunduan na sige, i-refer na muna sa Committee on Rules. Ipasa ibang araw yung panunumpa nating lahat before the presiding officer, pero siya ay manunumpa bilang presiding officer ngayong gabi. Natural na epekto na kapag ngayong araw manumpa ang presiding officer, bukas ay tayong lahat naman manunumpa bilang senator judges, natural na epekto yun na we have constituted an impeachment court. Hindi yun po ang unang issue na ni-raise na prejudicial issue. Yun lamang na bakit hindi idadaan din sa Committee on Rules. Nagbigay na po ang minority dyan. Tinilad-tilad na po natin yung original motion na hindi muna mag-constitute as impeachment court ngayong araw, i-refer nga sa Committee on Rules gaya ng hiniling ng good gentleman from Camarines Norte and BARM. At ngayong gabi, yung presiding officer lamang manunumpa. Bukas, tayong lahat ng iba ay manunumpa. At yung unang aktual na araw ng trabaho ng trial court ay sa Miyerkules pa. So please, maging resonable naman po tayo at tumupad naman po sa mga kasunduan nung tayo ay ilang oras na nagbubuo ng kompromiso na handa na nating tanggapin dito. Tumupad na kami dun sa prejudicial concern na idaan muna sa Committee on Rules at iisa lang ang manunumpa ngayong gabi. Bukas tayong lahat ng iba. There is no harm na nag-convene na tayo bilang korte bukas dahil wala pang gagawin ang korte bilang korte sa Miyerkules pa po. So I am appealing to the plenary, i-uphold naman natin yung pinaghirapan nating compromise nitong nakaraang 2 araw na tumupad dun sa unang issue na ni-raise ng good gentleman from Camarines Norte at BARM. Please lamang po mga kasama, palihog mga kauban. Salamat, Tabi, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Senator Ontiveros. Senator De La Rosa is recognized.
Actually, Mr. President, the majority is kind enough para pagbigyan yung pakiusap ng minority. Na originally naka-schedule na tayo on May 11, yung ating lahat-lahat na gagawin. June 11, lahat natin gagawin. So, what's the difference kung yung aming pakiusap ay pagbigyan rin naman?
Mr. President, just a clarification.
With the permission of Senator De La Rosa, Senator Cayetano is recognized.
Just to clarify, and I beg the indulgence of the minority. Everyone's in good faith kasi ang napag-usapan natin off the record, refer na natin tonight, mag-oath na si SP as presiding officer of the impeachment court. Tomorrow tayong mag-oath and then ituloy yung Wednesday. Yun yung agreement natin. We were silent on convening. So good faith everyone, because ang pagkaintindi naming marami na convening is a formal act. Hindi lang yung pag-oath na triggers that, di ba? Ang pagkaintindi pala ng minority is that so I'm just saying, if we cannot agree, we cannot agree, but there's no bad faith in both sides. So please accept
Sige.
my explanation. Then we can agree or agree to disagree.
So, Mr. President,
Senator Pimentel is recognized.
if we look at practice, kasi nga, kaya kami nag-compromise na dun sa referral to the Committee on Rules out of practice, not out of the letter of our rules. If we remember correctly, for those of us present in the last impeachment proceeding held in the Senate, nag-oath po ang members ng Senado when the court was called to session, Mr. President. So it was a court session. Nag-oath tayo as members of the senator judges. So if we want practice, to follow practice, let us convene the court and take our oath. And then yun, siguro ang good faith agreement na lang natin, let that be the only agenda of the court on Tuesday. So you can ask our staff to check if what I'm saying is correct, that when we took our oath as senator judges, it was the court, the Senate as sitting as an impeachment court convened already, Mr. President. So yun po yun. So ganoon na lang, in good faith tayo, and then that's our we make it of record now that that's the only agenda of the court, and then Wednesday na po yung actual work as stated by the Deputy Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I think
Senator Cayetano.
the misunderstanding comes from when to convene, because Senator Bato and whoever else have the same thinking, I was right to assume that Wednesday magko-convene. So he still has till tomorrow to decide whether he will give a privilege speech or make any motion depending on his gathering of his thoughts tonight. So kung mag-agree na tomorrow na magko-convene, that's why isa sa hiningi ni Senator Bato is before mag-oath, he can take the floor. At sabi naman namin, well, anyone can take the floor based on personal and collective privilege, no? So dun po ngayon may konting stalemate, no? Because Senator Bato doesn't want to be he doesn't want to be put in a position that he voted that tomorrow magko-convene right after mag-oath, pero may privilege, may speech pa siya before that. Am I correct, Senator Bato? Baka impeachment na maging Bato pa. Kaya magsasalita muna si Senator Bato bago doon. So that's the problem in agreeing with the second and the third motion as of now.
So as not to belabor the point, with the permission of Senator Pimentel, the movement has already stated in the affirmative that the idea behind this motion, both for this representation, when this representation takes its oath, and when the other members of the chamber take their oath, is that we are not yet convening the impeachment court. So that was the answer of Senator Villanueva to the query, the movement, to the query of Senator Bato. That is the status. As stated by Senator Cayetano, there seems to have been a misunderstanding that was clarified that indeed, in good faith, there was a misunderstanding with respect to the effects of that motion. But the status is that is the intent of the movement. Unless there are...
We cannot obsess over practice in the first motion and then abandon the practice on the third motion, Mr. President. So
I'm just saying that Senator
practice ang ginamit to accommodate the first motion, and yet practice hindi observed sa third motion, which is when we take our oath as senator judges, the court is convened.
Unfortunately,
the
Mr.
movement
President,
doesn't.
if I may, Mr. President, unfortunately, we have yet to make any third motion, Mr. President.
Yes, precisely.
That's the thing, Mr.
Pero-
President.
I think
So
Senator De La Rosa has connected his vote on the second motion to
Yes.
the upcoming anticipated third motion, Mr. President.
and when this representation was asked, I already responded, Mr. President, that upon consultation with members of this august chamber, that was the agreement, Mr. President.
Again, to settle the issue, to abbreviate the proceedings as well, given the response of the Honorable Villanueva to the query of Senator Bato, and given the reservations of the Honorable Pimentel, do I take that as an objection to his second, or do you want to reserve the objection to the third motion? Because he already has answered. Can we proceed with the second motion without objection?
No, because we are being trapped, Mr. President. The minority is being trapped if we will not object to the third motion, which is the oath-taking of the senators as senator judges. Gusto nga namin convening of the court tonight, Mr. President. This is the product of an attempt to compromise the pending motion, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate Secretary, Mr. President, I move that the Senate President will now take his oath as the presiding officer of the impeachment proceedings, Mr. President. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Motion is the motion is approved. Chair would like to call on the Senate Secretary to ascend the rostrum to administer the oath.
Sir, dito kayo, sir.
Sir, please raise your right hand and repeat after.
Wala mic, sir.
Okay na, sir. Importante kayo naman din.
I, Francis Chiz G. Escudero,
Solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that in all things appertaining to
that in all things appertaining to
the trial of the impeachment of
the trial of the impeachment of
Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte,
Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte,
now pending,
I
I will do impartial justice
will do impartial justice
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of the Philippines.
and laws of the Philippines.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Mr. President.
Senator Villanueva.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I respectfully move that the senator judges take their oath at 4 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, June 10, 2025. And again, reiterate, Mr. President, what this representation made mention a while ago, that after the oath taking of the senator judges, the court will be constituted but not convened yet, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. So
Duly
moved.
noted and entered into the records. Is there any objection to the motion? Hearing none. Motion is approved.